New furniture.
Such a lovely afternoon. The sun shining onto the treetops, the yard. Breathing, soft, gentle breath. effortless. Resting. No need for a story. No need for yesterday, tomorrow. No need for what's next. The birds singing in the distance. The warmth of the body. And whatever thought may be appearing or not. Nothing to be concerned about. This the spaciousness of awareness. Whatever is needed in this moment is there. There's no personal wish, personal agenda. It's not necessary. No image to defend. Nobody to impress. Resting as being. So simple, so direct. Relaxation. Maybe even a recognition of the peace that sometimes seems veiled behind personal agendas, personal desires, and personal conditions. And then we engage in all sorts of strategies, all sorts of efforts to get somewhere, to realize something. And in the midst of all this effort, the peace of being that is in this very moment effortless inner tranquility is overlooked. Sometimes we are hypnotized by our thoughts that are constantly reminding us of what more, what else we need to do, how we should be, how the world should treat us. Thoughts that keep referring to something's off. And we believe that, and we feel that. Something is off with my body, something is off with my mind, something is off with my work, with my situation, with the world. So we believe that, and we feel that, and we live under that impression. So we plug in a hole, and then thought says there's another hole. Then we plug that, and on, fixing ourselves, fixing the world, fixing our partner, fixing our neighbors, fixing the world. So exhausting, and may take us a while to realize the futility of a life that is dictated by the stream of thoughts and feelings. At the core of your beliefs and your feelings is the unexamined belief and feeling that you are the body mind, that you are a man, a woman, a person, whatever you imagine yourself to be, that you are something. And you live lifetime after lifetime as somebody, as something, as someone that you imagine yourself to be without realizing that you're living an imagined impression, that you're living according to a program. The operating system. I am born, I am somebody born. I will die one day. How often have we looked at that, really taken a look at that? If you look at the history of humanity, you will find a disaster after another, a war after another, more and more turmoil and violence, and disregard and disrespect, chaos. You can put lipstick on it and try to make it look good, but behind that thin veneer, it's chaotic, unhappy, very sad. You're part of that stream. Until we stop and start to pose some core questions about truth, about reality. Until we start to contemplate, to inquire into our beliefs and feelings that we are somebody. How could you be somebody and simultaneously know this somebody? You know this somebody as whatever, a bundle of thoughts and images. That is how you know yourself, as a bundle of thoughts and images, memories, images. Your history, your past, your hopes for tomorrow. You take yourself to be all of that, but what is it that perceives that? What is it that right now perceives this perception? What is it that right now, what is it that is real in this moment? What is the reality of your experience right now? Is it what appears to you? Are you what appears and disappears? What keeps morphing? What keeps changing? Are you that? All your concerns are about what you imagine yourself to be, which keeps changing. So your concerns keep changing. And your concerns remain on board as long as you take yourself to be somebody that is in time and space, somebody that is mortal, concerned about the health, about the welfare, about the wealth, about the popularity, about the success of this something, of this somebody that you take yourself to be. And so you spin and spin. You live a life of spin and concern and worry and efforts and travails and successes and failures, one after the other, after the other, after the other. The roller coaster ride of being somebody. And you may tell yourself, well, that is all I know. That is all I know. And to a certain extent, it's true, that is all you know. But that is not what you are. What you know is not what you are. So the inquiry is not so much about what do I know, but what am I? You may be attached to the images and the stories that you've cultivated for 20, 30, 40 years, whatever it is, that have been polished and so nicely arranged. You may be enamored with these images and you may not want to let go of this identity. But it's going to come around to pinch you. It's going to come around to bite you. You hold on to it because you like it or you love it or you're habituated to it, but it's going to spill out of your hands. It's going to spill out of your hands. You're going to have to hold it tighter and tighter, like you're holding water in your hands. You know, you're going to have to hold tight and tight. Make sure not a drop drops out, but it's going to drop out of your hands. It's going to drop out of your hands. And you keep adding on and arranging and rearranging the image. So it's a nicer story. It's more sellable, it's more likable, it's more lovable. But with a little bit of time, the veneer starts to tarnish. Some rust starts to arise on the surface. Then you have to rust-proof it. You cannot stop the hand of time for the bundle of images. The bundle of images are subject to time. Beautiful image today, come back in 20 years. How beautiful is it? Or a beautiful image may be beautiful today because you had a nice drink of wine, but once the effect of the wine fades away, you may be shocked at the image that you were admiring an hour ago. You're not any image. Can you take a close look at that? Just face that. But I am not any image. No image can be true expression of what I am. No bundle of images. No family tree of images can truly express what I am. In this very moment, transparent presence, transparent presence, the transparency of being, effortless. I am this transparent presence. I am before any thought, before any image, I am. Before any sensation, before any meditation, I am. I am. Before time and space, I am. Before female and male, before this or that, I am. And as an image arises, I am. after the image dissolves and another image may be replacing it, I am. Irrespective of any perception or sensation, irrespective of any thought, of any memory, I am. Whether there is an appearance or no appearance, I am. I is isness. I is beingness. It is not being something or somebody. It is pure beingness, isness. I is isness. I amness. The reality of being, the reality of awareness. I, beingness, awareness. I, presence, knowingness. This entire human dream is not about the human dream. It's not about the human accomplishment. It is about knowing yourself. It is about discovering your true nature, which you are. Awakening to your true nature, that which is, that which I am. Everything else is gravity. Gravity and centrifugal forces and yin-yang forces in the cosmos. Weather, sunshine, rain, plants growing, roots forming, trees connecting with each other, the core of the earth burning hot, the gravitational field, all of that is mechanics, God's mechanics. Your business is not God's mechanics, but to wake up to your true nature. And this is an opportunity. This is a gift from God for you to contemplate reality, to contemplate truth, and not to contemplate money and homes and relationships and what's the best partner, what's the best job, what's the best car, what's the best town to live in. You are placed where you are meant to be. Not in order for you to get concerned about where you are and what's happening to the body-mind, but to inquire and contemplate truth. You will not be placed in the wrong place. There is no such thing as being placed in the wrong place. God makes no mistakes, has no preferences, doesn't like you more than your sister or your brother or your partner or your mother or your father. You are placed where you are meant to be. You just have to be clear about what your task is. So inquire into what is it that is right now? What is it that is absolutely real right now? Because we don't have too many options. There isn't like the real and the semi-real. There is what is real and what is unreal isn't. So we contemplate what is real. You will notice that Your mind wants to take you in La La Land, wants to take you into, oh hey, let's visit the past, let's visit when you were 12 years old, let's visit when your mother hugged you, when she loved you more than your brother or your sister, let's revisit my relationship of 10 years ago. You will notice that the mind wants to take you into the dream world, into impressions. But what you have available to you is a trump card. You have the trump card available to you, which is awareness right here, right now. Awareness is not about time travel. It is full and complete shining, the shining radiance of being in this moment. Ever shining like the sun is ever shining, irrespective of what time the clock says. It's ever shining. Well, so if there are any questions, anything you want to look into, we can do that together.
Do you have any thoughts about how to anchor into the presence of me?
How to anchor into presence.
You have to keep yourself anchored.
Yes, how to keep yourself anchored in presence. There are many tools that are shared in satsang that relate to this question. So I'm going to share a couple of pointers that may be applied simultaneously in a way. There is, of course, the contemplation of what am I truly, what is real. This contemplation is referred to as viveka, as discrimination. The Sanskrit term viveka, discrimination between what is illusory and what is real. So for example, well, before I go into for example, just to define the term real, to be clear about how I use the term. What is real is unchanging across time and across space. What is real yesterday, what is real today, what is real tomorrow is the same reality. What is real in Transylvania and what is real in New York City is the same reality. It is irrespective of time and space. what is real is not subject to one's opinions and feelings. It's not more real when you're thinking of it or when you feel that it's real, and less real when you're not thinking of it and when you don't feel that it's real. What is real irrespective of thought. And what is real for everyone and for everything. It is the reality of everyone and everything. And also, what is real does not cease to be real. In other words, there is not a point in time where reality ceases and another reality starts. So reality, one could say that reality is, we use the term infinite, there are no borders to it. And is eternal, it's not in time. And it's therefore universal. And there is nothing outside of that reality. Because if there is something outside of reality, that would refer to some sort of edge to reality, and now there is something that is real outside of that reality. So there is no outside or inside to reality. So when you contemplate your experience, would be in this very moment, when you contemplate your experience in this very moment, you will find that there are thoughts, perceptions, and sensations. There is this perception. There may be bodily sensation of your legs on the couch, or your back against the couch, or whatever bodily sensations there are. And you will find that there are thoughts, memories, maybe, possibly. You will not find anything else outside of thoughts, perceptions, and sensations. But you will also find that there is something, I use the term something, but I don't refer to an object, that perceives a thought. Because what would be a thought or a perception without awareness? Or what would be a bodily sensation without awareness of the sensation? So you will find that in your direct experience, there are thoughts, perceptions, and sensations that are constantly changing. But there is also the changelessness of awareness. So you will find a stream of thoughts, of perceptions and sensations that are arising. And you will also find that there is awareness, the knowingness of that. Now, images, thoughts, one could say that they are like the weather. Internal weather, external weather, whatever. They're weather, meaning there are certain arisings. There are arisings. Like when you look at the ocean, sometimes the weather is very still, and sometimes there is some movement, and sometimes it's all weather. And weather is impersonal. So, in your contemplation of reality, of truth, the discrimination, viveka, blooms within you as your contemplation deepens. And you become capable of perceiving the weather and its neutrality and the reality of awareness. You will also notice, you may also notice within your contemplation, that whenever you are perceiving the weather from a neutral perspective, meaning as it is, impersonal weather, all is well. You may every now and then have to go get an umbrella, but no big deal because there is nothing at stake. Whether it is internal thoughts or no internal thoughts like in deep sleep, whether the perception is day or night, nothing is at stake. You may also come to notice that there are occasions where there is the feeling that there is something at stake. That, oh my God, what is going to happen to me? What is happening to me? Why did this happen to me? You will notice that there is sometimes in your field of awareness an add-on, the me add-on. And whenever there is the me add-on, there is the impression that there is something at stake. And there is within the body a sense of contraction, resistance, or seeking. That is something that we can notice when we're interested. We're interested in the contemplation. So if you're not interested, you will not notice that. It will operate below the radar, but it will operate. You're unhappy and you're sort of getting numb to it. But when you have the interest in the contemplation, you start to notice these patterns. You start to notice the unhappiness. And that will bring you to the next phase of the inquiry, which is, what is this me that is coming into the scene and creating the impression that there is something at stake and that there is some doomsday around the corner. So then the inquiry goes into, what is this me? And when you look at this question, there is no better time to look at this question than right now. Right now, in your experience, there is no me. There's just this conversation. It's just this perception. And the me arises as some sort of memory. Oh, am I getting this? Am I going to benefit from that? For example, I'm just creating, a fictitious scenario. What is going to happen to me tomorrow? Am I going to remember this? Am I going to benefit from this? So the me arises as thoughts and images. And as these thoughts and images arise, you will feel that you perceive within the body some reaction also. Because it's not just separate, it's not just neutral thoughts, there is a body-mind intimacy. So within the body, there will be also some contractions, some concerns, and some places of holding. And you will notice as you're looking at your life, living your life looking, you will notice that this process, it goes on more often than you think. And that in the long run, when you're contracting, a certain part of your body, at a certain point, there is a memory within the body mind. There is a memory of a contraction. So while in the past, initially, you needed somebody to really come assaulting you in order for you to contract, now even the hint of it, even the thought of somebody assaulting you will trigger that contraction within you, and you will find yourself sort of a victim of a whole world of contractions that are triggered in your life by so many seemingly insignificant thoughts and events and sensations. So, coming back to your question, there is the contemplation, which in a way I was talking a little bit about. There's of course much more to it. That's one of the legs, one of the pillars to returning, let's say, to your true nature. The other aspect of your question is about let's say, I don't like to use this term too often, but I'll use it, and I'll talk a little bit about it. Surrender. But it's important for me to add here that in this surrender, maybe it may start initially as an effort, but what is important to understand is that, in fact, there is no one surrendering and there is no actual surrender. Let me explain that a little bit. Right now, this is happening. This perception is what it is. So, you and this perception are not separate. And it's happening, it's a fact. It's a fact. Although we cannot put our finger on what it is, because as you put your finger on it, the wave becomes a particle, the particle becomes a wave. The only thing that remains is awareness. That is neither a particle nor a wave. To accept this or not to accept it is redundant. Because in fact, there is no one apart from this to accept it or not accept it. And yet, when we believe that there is someone, that this scene is appearing, that it may impact onto some particular body mind, we bring into this perception the impression that there is a choice and that there is a chooser. And so, because there is the impression that there is a choice and that there is a chooser, I'm speaking to that impression, to tell that impression, choose not to resist. If you feel that there is a choice and that there is a chooser, choose complete stillness. Now, the mind may arise, or thoughts may arise saying, well, wait a minute, I've got to go to work. I have to drive my car. I've got to fill my car with gas. That is not what I'm talking about. That is not what I'm talking about. The world body mind continues. When there is hunger, you go shopping and you cook a meal and you eat. When it's time for you to go to work, you prepare yourself and you go attend to your clients. What I'm talking about is the adding on into the scene a me that wants things to go that way and not this way, because there is something at stake for me. There's a subtle difference between being engaged in the world and making choices, for example, to hire a new assistant or rent a larger office, which is sort of responding in a way to a situation and moving in a direction that you feel is a good direction for everybody involved, and feeling that there is something at stake. There's a difference, and that difference you can recognize it within yourself as unhappiness. So whenever you notice that you are moving into unhappiness, cease and desist. Stop. Stop. Be still. Experience whatever feelings are arising. Do not try to wiggle your way into a better feeling state by blaming others, by acting out, by developing a mental way of jiggling your way around it. Just be completely still. And rather than thinking about the feelings, or rather than reacting to the feelings, turn your attention to a welcoming space, which you are. Right now, it's completely welcoming space. Effortlessly, we are welcoming this. Is nothing we're doing, it's our true nature. Our true nature is welcoming. So turn your attention to the welcoming space. Invite whatever is arising to its complete freedom. Even though you may be experiencing the mind pulling you, thoughts pulling you into, but we can't, you can't take that, that's bad, you're not gonna, that's awful. Even though there may be these thoughts arising. And that's a challenge, but that's how we live, the contemplation. That's how we go against the current of our hypnotic habits, is by, you have to feel the fire a little bit, in a way, but that fire is not going to burn you. It's just going to burn the ignorance. It's just going to burn the erroneous beliefs. It's eroding the ignorance. It's not going to burn you, because you are not burnable. And throughout your life, recollect what's important. And what's important is never in the material realm, in the realm of the senses, in the realm of the mind. If you make the mistake of believing that what is important is in the realm of the senses and of the mind, then you will spin again and again in the wheel of samsara, again and again, until you come to the clarity that what is important is awakening to your true nature. And we do that on behalf of the entirety. There is no personal behalf. It may start with the impression that it's on my personal behalf, but it soon becomes clear that there is no person, and therefore there is no personal behalf. Also, you have choices you can make in your life. Do not place awakening to the self on the back burner. Whichever way your life unfolds, live according to the love for truth. Invite your partners and whoever is available in your space who resonates with that to, in a loving manner, to get a sense of that. Because this is what we all aspire for. In the depth of our heart, in the depth of our being, this is our deepest aspiration. Yes. I forgot your name.
Because I haven't told
Oh.
I'm Andrew.
Andrew. Hello, Andrew. Hello. Yes. Oh, okay. Okay. Yes.
I'm now in that phase you described earlier of questioning the I, the me, the atom.
Yes.
And what I find a lot of the time now is it's some thoughts, the I is very apparent, the me is very apparent. But then, especially when I question those thoughts, there seem to be sensations in the body or emotions where there's no I that's detectable. It's just a raw sensation.
Mm-hmm.
It's not pleasant.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yes, yes.
And that's where I get stuck,
Mm-hmm.
because that ability to notice the I and thus that it is illusory does not exist in that situation.
Yes, right. Yes, yes.
I wonder if you could speak to that.
Yes.
Handle that.
Yes. It's a very good question. You know, the personal self, the sense of me, one aspect of it is the belief, the thought that I am Andrew, that I am this person, that I am the son and so and so, blah, blah, blah. You know, the thoughts that the I thought, which you will find is present in many, if not most, of the thoughts that arise. But the bulk of the me is not in the I thought. It's in what you refer to, in the feeling, in that in the body. So we can come to, in our contemplation, we can come to understand relatively quickly that I am not the body, that I am not the person, that I am not the name, because I perceive the body, I perceive the thoughts, the images. So the I that perceives is not what is perceived. I perceive the tree, but I'm not the tree. So it's not too complicated, not too complex to come and understand that I actually refers to awareness. We can come to that understanding relatively quickly, which is an important phase in our contemplation. But then there is, what they say, the submerged part of the iceberg. The submerged part of the iceberg is between when you somehow see through the me, there's still a me feeling, and that's unpleasant. So it's good to understand that it's really at the feeling level that the me is residing. And it's at the feeling level that the me is also fed. Because when we are feeling this me, this unhappiness, we don't want it. And in a way, it makes sense not to want it, because who wants unhappiness? Right? You have to be loco to want unhappiness. But at the same time, whether we like it or not, that's what's happening. That's what's happening. So to try to wiggle your way around what is happening, it's ridiculous. What's happening? You can't wiggle your way around what's happening. You can wiggle your way around something that may be about to happen, but in terms of what is happening, there is no way to wiggle your way around it. It's happening. So there is wisdom in first noticing whether we are wiggling our way around this, what I refer to as contractions within the body, and how we are wiggling our way around that, and to contemplate the possibility of remaining as complete presence to that. Now, in terms of presence is like awareness. It doesn't belong to anybody. And it's not something that you can turn off or on. You could choose to look in a different direction. But when you look at presence, it's there. Whenever you ask yourself, hey, am I present? Yeah. But you may not be looking at that question. And so, although you're not looking at that question, this does not mean that presence isn't. So presence, what's lovely about presence is that it always is. And it doesn't belong to anybody. And it has no borders. It's not like, okay, let me see, presence starts here and ends there. Attention can focus on an object, which is necessary tool for the human functioning. We need to, when we're driving, we turn our attention onto the road. When we have a task to perform, we turn our attention to the task. But presence is openness. And it's non-judgmental. That's what's lovely about presence. Presence doesn't say, okay, well, we're present for 6 foot tall people, and anybody who's below 6 foot, we're not present. It's not like that. Presence is non-discriminatory. It's open to everything. It's just, and that's what's so beautiful about presence. And presence doesn't say, oh, that's fire, I don't want it. That's sweet, beautiful lake, I want it. That's a human mind that says that. Presence has no, it's all loving, it's love. Presence is love. It's loving everything, it welcomes everything. So when you look at that aspect of this, of the me, that is at the feeling level, presence, from the perspective of presence, it's completely open and welcoming to that. And it is in this welcoming that this bundle of contracted energy within the body, that it's invited to its complete unfolding. Because when you have a knot, the only way around the knot is to unknot it, to invite it to unknot itself, to release itself. So whenever you're experiencing this contraction in the body, in the feeling state, thinking about it is not the way. The way is more at the feeling level, to sort of be present to it, be open to it, not to name it, not to label it, because that's thinking about it, not to try to build some wall on this side so it goes this way, or it's not the thinking approach that works, not the analytical approach that works in that situation. What works in that situation is breath. Because breath is everywhere in a way, you know. It's always there, it's always present, it's open, it's free. Breath and welcoming. So it's a welcoming. And also to understand that what is real cannot be harmed, say. Because what is real is absolute, cannot be harmed. So to trust that to approach the contractions within the body with presence, with openness, to come towards them as opposed to away from them, that it won't harm you. It will have the opposite effect of revealing to you that there is really nothing there. That there is nothing there. From the distance, you know, we may sometimes, when like a mirage, from distance we see a big mountain. We say, oh my God, I will not be able to climb this mountain. But when you get close to the mountain, you see it's a mirage, and you find yourself, there's nothing to climb, you say. There's no heights to climb. So, in the teaching, there is the enlightenment. You need to come into clarity that I am consciousness, I am awareness. But then there is the post-enlightenment journey, which is the larger part of the journey, which is to live as consciousness. So you're approaching everything that you're perceiving, everything that you're doing, everything that you're thinking as consciousness, as the know me, as a universal self. There is nothing at stake for consciousness. Nothing at stake for consciousness. Always what is at stake is for me, the person. Oh my God, he got the job that I wanted to get. The next door neighbors got a bigger yard than I have, etc. It's always for the personal self that there is the impression of gain and loss. But for consciousness, there isn't. And to live in life, you will have those triggers that will make you feel as a personal self. You will feel the unhappiness. When you feel the unhappiness, two things to do. First, at that moment, it's important to understand that it's not possible for you to feel unhappiness as consciousness. You will only feel unhappiness as a person. Something that you want isn't happening. Some of your expectation isn't happening. It's important to understand that at that moment you have reverted. You are Andrew. You are this person with their own goals and their own ambitions. And damn it, I didn't get what I wanted. It's important to understand that. The other thing is, because you understood that, and because you understand that living, trying to satisfy Andrew is a lost cause, and that you need to, there are other ways of doing it, then you remain completely open and still to what is happening. And like I was talking to Julian earlier, there is that the process of both contemplation and surrender. So it's at the feeling level that there is something at stake, that things matter, that things really grip. Because feelings have a longer echo than the thought. You say, because a thought can be replaced by another thought, but feelings, they have a longer life to them. And that's really where most of the residues of identification, they're at the body level, at the feeling level. So when you turn our attention to a sensation right now, you will notice that there is a sensation, for example, the sensation of your belly. Turn your attention to the sensation of your belly. You will find that is not very specific. It's not like saying, okay, when I turn my attention to this bottle, it's more specific. And it's not really clear, like exactly where the sensation is. We can do that now as we're speaking. Like, where exactly is this sensation? What color does it have? What shape does it have? What form does it have? It's not really. You can't really put your finger on it. And the more you look at the sensation, the less you find that there is something. Let me use the word concrete or something. There is something there. It's like, in a way, it seems there is something, but it's not really clear what it is. So it's interesting to be doing this little exercise. Like, for example, if you look at the sensation of your feet on the ground right now, you look at the sensation of your right foot and the sensation of your left foot, and then you can switch them. You say, okay, well, let me switch the right. The left is going to be the right, and the right is going to be the left. Very quickly, you may come to, wait a minute, I don't even know where the left and the right is. And I can't even tell which part of the sensation of my feet is my feet, and which part of the sensation of my feet is the ground. You can't tell that, you see. So there is a way of contemplating the sensations, within that you're experiencing, in a way that you will find that what at some level seems to be so concrete, yeah, that's the right foot, yeah, that's the left foot. In fact, in your direct experience, you can't discern. There isn't. But there's only thing you can say in a way with certitude. The only thing you can say with certitude is that there is awareness. And that you cannot say much about it. It is. It just is. you can't say it is this or it is that, or you say it is awareness. I can't deny awareness. I don't know what is right, what is left. I don't know the sensation of my shoulder. But what's also a good exercise to do is to notice. Sometimes you can just sit quietly, or even in the middle of your day, you can scan your body really quickly and find what part of your body you're holding. Sometimes we're holding is our belly, or we're holding our eyes or our neck, or we may notice that. So it's a good scan to do, and to sort of go there and notice this holding. To notice this holding, and as you're noticing the holding, you will find that the holding starts to release, because somehow it's being noticed. Right? And so there is a contemplation, Andrew, in your body, throughout your body scan, besides, they're looking at the Dharma, of scanning your body and noticing these things, and it's very gentle. It's not about effort. It's not about like, oh, I'm going to free the body from this contraction. It's not like that. It's more a gentle noticing, because you're noticing yourself in a way. It's you noticing you.
Yeah.
Right, and because we all love peace and happiness and tranquility, whenever we notice a place where we're holding, in a way, naturally, it unholds itself. And of course, I'm not talking about when there is an actual danger situation, somebody's coming at you. That's a different situation where there is an appropriate contraction, appropriate response of the body to a certain situation.
Like you said, the feeling has to be, it can't be looked at the level of thought.
Right.
I get the sense that so habituated to believing that thought can tackle it.
Yes.
Anytime I notice a sensation, it's nothing but thoughts with eyes in them trying to do that.
Mm-hmm. Yes. In a way, it's a trickery of thought. It wants to sort of tell you, well, forget that. Let's just think about it. Let's just think about a solution for it. But the solution out there doesn't have anything to do with the sensation right here. You see? Yes, absolutely. It's good to see that. Yeah.
Isn't awareness all of that what we are talking about?
Isn't awareness all of that?
Isn't awareness the noticing the sensation? Because as you said, you sit and you feel the difference between your leg and floor and carpet and so on. So to me, it immediately went into my back.
Mm-hmm.
Well, instead of saying that I have that sensation, now I'm sitting here and I'm aware. I'm aware of it. And then, if I'm aware of the noticing, of the sensation, even the feeling, it's not a big step to say that I'm the awareness itself. I mean, I'm aware of the awareness. So then I can also drop into awareness by simply being aware of the noticing of the sensation. Seems to me, maybe.
Okay. Yeah.
In that sense, we're bypassing the mind.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Any questions? By the way, if there are questions online too, you're welcome to pose your questions.
While you're responding to my question earlier,
Yes.
it kind of struck me. I think it struck me that all of my unhappiness is about being unhappy. All of my unhappiness is driven from the possibility of later being.
Okay.
So,
yeah,
because like you said, when you're surrendering, it's impossible to be unhappy, right?
Right.
It's not possible.
Yes.
It's a complete waste of time.
Yes.
And all of it comes from the millions of me. Millions of me that I meet tomorrow, maybe a week from now, maybe 5 minutes from now.
Yes.
So,
yes, me in time.
Yeah.
Yes. So what does this mean?
Right, it's a bundle.
Yeah.
It's a me impression.
Right. So if the me is, whatever reality the me has to be real now, you say. So then we look at what is the reality of me now, because we can never look tomorrow. Only looking we can do is now. Right? So then we say, okay, well, what is the reality of this me right now? What is it? So as you said, there isn't a me right now. But a me can arise, and now we're talking theoretically. Let's say this is arising now as a thought. And the thought is saying, you are, Julian, and this is what's going to happen. An image of you tomorrow, whatever is something undesirable. So because of that thought, it's going to immediately trigger in you an old response within the body. It's an old sense of something vulnerable. Now, within the body, there are, let's say, 2 dimensions. At the feeling state, there is the underlying feeling of me, which is there. I was going to say dormant, but it's not completely dormant. It is doing a siesta, but it's there. It's not in deep sleep. And every now and then, there is a little event that wakes this sense of me up. And there is little unhappiness, or really wakes him up. There's bigger unhappiness. So there is the dormant, the siesta, personal self. And then there is the personal self that wakes up. It can wake up as feelings, or it can wake up as negative emotions, anger and madness and jealousy and fear, etc. Or it can wake up as irritation. I'm irritated. Irritated. The tea is not. She didn't steep the tea enough. It must be 4 minutes. She put it for 3 minutes. And it's still there. It's still. So that the me that is in siesta, that dormant me, is always present until Sahaja Samadhi, until it's completely dead. And the contemplation and our interest in truth is the process of killing ignorance. Killing ignorance, getting rid of ignorance. And I'm providing you this model for you to sort of just contemplate that even when seemingly all is well, all is not really well. Because the sense of personal self is not, is having a siesta. And the sense of personal self, when there is a thought about me tomorrow, it's just a thought, a small event, a thought, oh, tomorrow, oh, less money tomorrow, whatever. That the me that is in bed, that's having a siesta now, you know, is, you know, sometimes you're in a siesta, you're not moving, sometimes you're in the siesta, but you're not fully in it, you know. So it's a little bit like that. Don't worry about it. That's bound to occur. That is how it is. That is how it is. Our interest is in to look really closely at the belief over and over that I am a body-mind, which I perceive, that I am something that I perceive. And also to, whenever a situation arises and there is a feeling that arises of contraction within the body, to relax and release it and allow it. That's your task. And you're right in observing that the personal self arises in projections, images of me tomorrow. You know, isn't it amazing, like how images, because it's a thought. The thought is an image. I mean, really, nothing is happening. It's just a freaking image. You know what I mean? How an image can like spoil the happiness. It's amazing, the power of images.
It's interesting out of all the infinite perceptions that can arise, the perceptions linked to the self are the ones that really, I don't know,
yeah,
have a weight to them.
Absolutely.
Are you familiar with Sadhguru?
Sadhguru, say something.
He's a spiritual teacher.
Uh-huh.
And he said it interestingly. He said a lot of the suffering is caused by it's caused by falling in love with imagination.
Uh-huh.
And
yes.
past and present.
Yes.
Or past and future.
Yes. We're also in love with, it's maybe subtle, but we're in love with our images. Like, we love people to love us, but we love them to love our images. Because we are love itself, and love isn't seeking for something to love it. Love is already love. But we want people to love our images. And so in a way, we're loving our images ourselves, you know. Like, I love my cat and I want you to love my cat, you know. Anyways, very lovely to be with you. Thank you. Okay, Kathleen, George, nice to see you online. Thank you. Let me see.